Welcome to the Behind the GAVL podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Raplee, co-founder, CEO of GAVL Marketing, full service digital marketing agency for law firms. This is episode 12. This is a big deal. We're officially official, I think is what they say in the podcast world. I think you got to hit 12 episodes before it is a real deal. So we're moving, we're grooving. We love doing this. It's a fun time. We have a great team, great producer, Oscar, great social media people. Just everything is really cooking and moving at GAVL. We have recently re-signed some clients that we parted ways with in the past and that have now come back to work with us. We're super excited about that. I think it's very important as a business to never burn bridges, always do what's right for other people. So sometimes, the stars don't align and there's always potential in the future to work together. It's a really good life lesson to just don't burn bridges, just be nice to people, keep them moving, and what goes around comes around. Today, I am joined by a special guest. This is kind of an off-the-cuff podcast today because we wanted to keep our cadence and rhythm going. So we're just going to have fun with this one. But I'm joined by Mariah Farrens, who is the marketing strategist here at GAVL. And Mariah is a marketing professional with over 12 years of experience in branding, design, and strategic storytelling. She is a self-starter who brings fresh ideas, sharp attention to detail, and collaborative leadership to every project. And I, for one, have to vouch for that. She has been on the team for, I don't even know, maybe a year-ish now. All I know is she has changed the way that we do business. She's amplified our brand, our clients' brands, just everything that we're doing as a agency, I think, has been elevated to the next level. And she's also the wife of Luke, who is our head of websites and has some great kids. Just really excited for this one. So let's jump in.
I'm your co-host today. My name is Mariah Farrens, and I'm the marketing strategist at GAVL. And I'm going to be sitting down with GAVL's co-founder and CEO, Ryan Raplee. We're going to reflect on a decade of building the company, what's it like working inside the legal industry, and helping law firms tell their stories. We'll get into the real story of Behind the GAVL, what has changed in the legal space, and what law firms should be thinking about today and into the future. So let's get into the episode. Hey, Ryan, good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Good morning, Mariah. Thank you for being here. I'm excited for this one. And you're going to kind of run a lot of the ship today.
Are you ready to answer some questions, get into the...
I'm going to try. I mean, yeah. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll omit some things, but we'll find out.
We'll start with an easy one. So before we go back to the beginning, I want to start with a few rapid fire questions to kind of get us warmed up this morning. So most important question first, what was your coffee or drink order this morning?
So I'm actually still working on drinking it. I got a Starbucks venti strawberry acai with extra caffeine refresher. And I'll tell you what, it is delicious.
So since it's GAVL's 10-year anniversary, what is one word you would use to describe GAVL today?
That is a tough one. I would say experienced, or also another word I like is polished.
Oh, I like that one.
Because we've come a long way in 10 years when we're just, I never ran an agency 10 years ago. And now 10 years later, a lot has changed. Although, we've gotten more polished. We have a bigger team. We know what to do all the time. I mean, obviously, we're still learning and innovating and keeping up with the industry. And the industry is rapidly changing right now. But let's go with polished. I like that.
So you've worked with lawyers for a long time now. What do you love the most about working in the legal space?
Nothing. No, I'm just joking. Just kidding. I think it's really cool to work in the legal industry because the clients that we've been fortunate enough to work with are, attorneys that really help. One, they shape the world. They make us a better society, if you look at some of our clients now, I mean, they're battling for the Seventh Amendment. They're battling for all these different things. It's not just battling for injured plaintiffs, but a lot of the work they do through organizations like AAJ, they are helping change laws, make things safer for the consumer, for the citizens of the country. And on top of that, they do help change people's lives. I mean, some of these attorneys we work with are getting massive trial verdicts, massive settlements that are helping injured people. And I think that's really important that, we have been lucky enough to work with a lot of the best of the best. And that's, it's kind of reshaped my opinion of early days of working with attorneys because, you hear a negative stigma at every corner. When I tell people I work with law firms, it's like, oh, law firm, blah. But then you educate them on what they're actually doing. Not just, obviously there are some bad seeds out there, but for the most part, at least all the people we work with, they are the best of the best, and I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a great takeaway. So shifting gears a little bit, what would you say has been the most unexpected part for you of being a CEO?
The most unexpected part of being a CEO and, just a co-founder and a business owner is like Gordon Gekko always said, money never sleeps, and you need to always be as available as possible to clients, to employees, to business partners, everything. There are so many different moving parts of a business that 10 years ago I didn't necessarily understand all of the little things. And now, going back to polished, I've learned a lot of that. I'm still not, there's still a road ahead of more things to learn.
All right. So now that we've covered the kind of important icebreaker stuff, let's go back to 2016. So we had different trends, different tech, probably some very questionable fasting choices that time period.
Well, I mean, speaking of fashion, let's highlight for those listening, you can't see.
Hat on today.
I got a sick lid yesterday with my kiddo at Books A Million. I got a Gandalf Lord of the Rings hat. And if you are listening only, I think you should go check it out on video because it is a really awesome hat. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I got to get that. And would I have worn this 10 years ago? Absolutely.
No, it's pretty legit. And the ring on the side.
Oh, yeah, we got
that's pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah. I should just wear the hat.
Luke would like that. Hey, maybe that'd be a good Father's Day gift.
Hey, there you go.
Because that's coming up.
Yeah.
Traveling back in time, what path led you to building Legal Insights and then now GAVL? Can you talk about that journey?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. We go back 10 years. I was working for a company in the legal space. Well, even before then, I was working at an engineering firm, fresh out of college. I worked actually there as kind of like an intern co-op student during college, and they're based here where I live now in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. And I just started working there fresh out of college. A couple of years in, kind of crazy, one of my colleagues moved to Nashville. He started working for this information technology company in the legal space. They were doing digital forensics, e-discovery, all this different stuff. And he ended up calling me one day and said, hey, we're looking to start a marketing division of the company. Would you want to jump ship and come on board? And I said, well, I'm not moving to Nashville. I got to stay here in Williamsport. And they said, oh, no problem. You can do it remote. And thinking about, today, remote work is the norm. 10 years ago, well, this would have been, 13 years ago, 12 years ago. It was not the norm. It was like a very scary thing to kind of jump into. And they took the leap of faith, hired me. It was a great decision. But then fast forward a little bit, we started the marketing division. New leadership came into the company. They said, hey, we don't want to do marketing anymore for law firms. We want to just stick in, e-discovery, digital forensics and stuff. And I said, okay. So I had to call some of my clients, and Tad was one of my first clients. This is this is a long time ago. And he's like, so what do we do? And I said, I don't know. He said, well, let's just start a company. And I said, well, giddy up, let's go. So that's where Legal Insights was born. And then fast forward several years later, this is a crazy story too. And one of our other first clients, Mike Campbell, becomes a client, and he's a young buck attorney down in Columbia, Missouri. We become great friends. Next thing you know, we're talking about video. He knows a video person. We start GAVL Video. And then also at the same time, Mike merges his firm with Thomas Law Offices with Tad. So now Tad, Mike, and I are business partners together. And that led to GAVL Video. We marketed two companies for a couple of years, going to different conventions and stuff. And then it's like, which one do you put on the stage? What do you build the booth around? Because a lot of these organizations, they don't allow you to have multiple brands at one booth. Like, you have to get two different ones. And we're like, man, this is just tough. And Legal Insights, the name, my baby, right? That's the OG original. But then GAVL I came up with one day, GAVL, and that's how we got GAVL Video. And that's the new, like, I think the elevated name. I've always loved simple one word brand names, and you go back to like Google. It's like, what is Google? There's a whole science behind why they named it Google, but part of it was it's not a real word, or maybe it is a real word, but they just spell it differently or do something different. And that's why GAVL I liked, it's just GAVL. It's the pattern. So I decided, hey, we're just going to do a joint venture, market both companies as just one company. And that's where we're like, all right, it's just GAVL, not GAVL Video, just GAVL. But, we go by GAVL Marketing as well. But I like to just put everything as just GAVL.
Yeah, that's quite the story. I guess I didn't realize that that GAVL Video lived alongside Legal Insights for some period of time. So was there a moment that you thought, okay, hey, this new business under GAVL might actually work? Like, what was that kind of defining moment for you, you'd say?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be candid. We just lost connection, and I had a great response to this. And now I'm going to try. And, this is funny because this is behind the scenes of how productions and stuff work. Sometimes you get a great take and the camera stops rolling, or you run out of hard drive space. And this time my internet connection went out, but I'm going to try to do it as good as my first take. But, every entrepreneur that wakes up every day, runs a business, you wake up with a constant sense of fear, right? The ship's going to burn. The company's going to implode every single day since the day we started. And this is 10 years later, I still wake up with that. But I think that is a really good thing, because that means there's care, right? I care about everything. I care about my employees. I care about the company. I care about my business partners. That's really important. But from day one, I still had the mindset, like, come hell or high water, this is going to be a success. Like, we are going to make a great agency. We're going to learn the ropes as we go. They say fake it till you make it. And I'm not going to lie, we faked it a little bit early on, but we made it. And now I think we're one of the best legal marketing agencies in the industry. And there's, been quite a few that have popped up since we started and have went defunct, have closed shop. So I think running an agency for 10 years is, that's no easy feat, but we did it because we had a great team. We had great leadership. Tad took and made an investment in me. One of our original partners who passed away, Kevin McCarthy, RIP, he took an investment in me and the company and the idea that we can make this successful. So I don't want to let people down. So I knew we were going to make it.
I think that's the key right there, is that foundational belief, like, hey, we're going to figure this out. We're going to get through that. Being okay and being comfortable with the idea of being uncomfortable, because as we know, growth doesn't happen in our comfortable zones. Not that we want to be in an uncomfortable position and have that
Yeah, you
sense
can't
of
go with the
fear,
status
but like that
quo.
urgency of that's
Mhm.
what businesses do to evolve and keep moving forward,
You
which
know,
leads us well, yeah, or
well,
go ahead, Ryan.
I've always been a nonconformist too, so it's a great book I recommended to Oscar, Origins or Originals. It's Originals, right, Oscar?
Yeah, it's originals.
Originals. Awesome book. It's basically how nonconformists kind of rule the world. It's kind of weird because when I was young as a tech nerd at 13, 14, I was looked at as like, what is this guy doing? You know, this is going to go nowhere. You're wasting your life. Come full circle, nerds rule the world now. It's kind of crazy. It's like all of a sudden it became cool to be a nerd. It's also really important, when I say when you fake it till you make it, you still need to get up every day when you get out of bed, and you truly have to feel and believe that you can become the best at what you do. I think anybody can do anything in this world, whether you're a janitor to a plumber to McDonald's shift worker to working in a factory, working in an agency, anything. Get out of bed, doesn't matter how much money you make, get out of bed, go to work, try to be the absolute best person in the world at that job. Now, obviously, you're probably not going to be the best, but you have to always strive to be the
Mhm.
best, and you have to
Yeah, that
believe it
mindset.
and have
Yeah,
that mindset.
that
You
work
know,
ethic will take you far.
that's really what we're trying to build here at Gavel is that mindset. We'll bring in some employees and help show them the ropes, but they need to show that they want to be the best at what they do. I think that's really important.
Nice. That segments well into kind of our next segment, Ryan. So, many of our listeners own and run their own legal practices. So I think they can relate to what you've been talking about in terms of growing a business, the lessons learned along the way. So why do you think people and relationships, especially in the legal industry, matter so much?
The whole legal industry is built on this referral network, and a lot of people don't necessarily know this. Attorneys are referring cases to each other all around the country, all around the world. So they're already in this mindset of, hey, I want to hire and work with a person or a team that I can see and I know and I trust and I get to meet, rather than just a big box, company. And there's still plenty of law firms out there that work with the big box, but also that mindset probably isn't the people that fit best with us. We work really good with boutique firms and some big firms, but still they have that boutique mindset. When I first started going to conventions, like AAJ, my first one was in 2017. That's actually the year Tad uh, became or ran for parliamentarian to start his ladder, and he ended up winning that and became parliamentarian. But that was my first convention. I could barely talk to people. I was like the awkward nerd, so I really had to learn and build the confidence and take that journey. But when you first get there, some people will talk to you. I was fortunate because I had Tad and like, oh, Tad, okay, you're trustworthy. But it still took many conventions and being there over and over so people learn that, hey, we're just not, a fly by night shop. We're here for the long term. We're not just here to take money and move and leave, because unfortunately, there's a lot of vendors that come in. They see personal injury attorneys as having the budgets for doing some of the things that they're trying to sell, and they don't really do what they sell. And there's been a lot of negative stigma around that. So the attorneys are very cautious about who they're going to work with. So building relationships, being face to face with somebody, there's been plenty of clients where I've taken them for dinner, drinks, we get to know each other, we become friends, and then they say, "Hey, I am happy with who I'm working with now, but we built this relationship." And for me, I never really push sales. It's really just building relationships. And then if the sales come, they come. Obviously, we want to grow the business, but we've had clients who say, hey, we want to work with you and your team. So they make the switch. And that's for me, it's very humbling, and it's great. But then there's also that extra pressure. It's like, oh man, we can't mess this one up.
Do you think that's more true now, the relationship building, than even maybe 10 years ago?
I think so.
Just for
Because
the advancement of how easy it is to stay connected online and with technology, but then we've kind of lost
yeah,
sight of the human-to-human connection we still need to have.
yeah, and COVID kind of made it weird for a little while. Every
Yeah.
sales call was on Zoom, and we're got cold calls and cold outreaches, and then you get on a Zoom, you've never met the person. It's different, but when I'm at a convention and I have dinner, I have a meal with somebody, I meet somebody, sometimes it's not even about, oh, what do you do? What do you do? It's like we just connect. Oh, cool. We're talking about sports. We're watching the same game on TV. We're sitting at the bar. We're sitting at the restaurant. And then next thing you know, you become friends. And then it's like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I do marketing. They're like, oh, that's cool. You don't, let's talk. So then the
Yeah.
post follow up Zoom, it's a lot different, and this industry is a lot of retainer driven relationships, as I think it should be. We have some competitors that say, oh, you shouldn't lock into anything. That could be different from a paid ad side, but from an SEO side, in these big markets, it really takes time. They buy into the trust. It's just, I think human to human connection is really important. And that's really shaped our business. And that's why, like right now, Catherine is out representing GAVL at Texas Trial Lawyers. We don't have a ton of clients in Texas. We have a couple, but we want to get more. You got to be boots on the ground. You have to get in front of people.
So then applying that, this conversation of the importance of relationships and building a team specifically, what have you learned about building the right team as the company has grown?
Yeah. So building the right team as a company has grown is really important. Early on, it was just trying to get employees that were local to Williamsport because we were building an office here, to now everyone is remote. So we've been able to pick up great talent from around the country, but you still have to fit our culture. You still have to, be a nice person, be really good at your job, but also, try to make the best of working remote and staying connected, not being on an island, and that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
And not everyone we hire fits that mold. So I'm a big believer in let's rip the Band-Aid off quick. Let's not linger. Let's not try to pretend this is working. And there's never any hard feelings for me if somebody leaves or, unfortunately we have to let go of someone. Always try to still be nice about it. It just doesn't work all the time. Well,
Yeah.
and I think it's really important for law firms hearing this too, is don't try to make things work. You'll know pretty quick if someone's going to really fit your team culture. Don't try to adapt your culture to fit someone else's mindset. If you're the owner, you're running the ship, you need to build the team that buys into what you're trying to sell, your brands, all of that stuff.
So GAVL's worked closely with law firms across the country to help tell their stories. So let's talk about a few takeaways from the marketing world as it relates to the legal space. So what do you think is a common misconception that law firms still have when it comes to marketing, storytelling, and growth?
So law firms are very busy. Sometimes they don't want more clients. I say, well, why are you hiring a marketing company? They think, just because they need to. But I think the firms that still want to grow, but they don't care about their brand, they don't care about marketing, they don't care about all this, and then they say, why aren't I growing? It's because they're not investing in their brand, they're not investing in their marketing. And there's always been this negative stigma too, working with agencies where they just take your money and they don't do anything. And that is a real scenario. That's a real thing. Like, we take over clients from other marketing agencies and we get in there and we say, they haven't done anything. SEO and what we do, it's every week we work on every single client. Like every single week, you have to rewrite content, you have to constantly build links, you have to constantly track and measure and see what's working, see what's not working. There's also people that say, "Oh, well, I invested in these 4,000 blog posts. I'm not deleting them." But then you get in there and you're like, none of them's driving traffic. They're not indexed. We have to delete them. You need to like suck it up. And yeah, you wasted money on that, but that's part of SEO too, is sometimes you need to throw darts at the wall and see what kind of sticks and then lick your wounds and delete the things that don't, because not everything is gonna work. I tell the writers this too. It's like, don't take it personal. Yeah, I understand you're investing a lot of time into this, but if it gets deleted, it's just part of the process. One thing I actually get asked all the time is, and I was just asked this by Rocco on the Milestone podcast I did. Shout out to Rocco, awesome dude over at Milestone. We had a great time on that podcast. But he asked me, he said, "What makes you different? What makes your agency different?" I said, "We do the work. Like we actually do what we say we're going to do and do the work."
Which seems so simple, but from what you've found, maybe
Yeah.
isn't as common as it can be.
Yep. It's, we'll also sometimes take over a client from another agency and we'll see that their entire operation was outsourced. So it was one person doing sales, and then websites outsourced, content's outsourced. They don't do any link building. So they're just, you can't do SEO without building authority through links. I hate the authority word, but it's like you need backlinks to build page rank, to grow your SEO and grow your reach. Like you have to do that. Most of these agencies, they don't do that. They just write some blog posts, toss it up. They never do any of the work that needs to be done for real SEO. So they get that negative stigma,
Mm-hmm.
and it's valid. But then when they come work with us, they see, oh, these guys are actually doing stuff.
I think the word marketing too is just such a tricky word, and everyone has their own definition of what marketing means. And maybe I think even more now than it was like 10 years ago. Like usually it's has a kind of negative, like marketing is just a paid ad, very
Yep.
expensive route. And it encompasses so much more with branding and storytelling. And I think that's what Gavel does really well is we help tell your story and connect with your local audience in a way that is genuine and feels true to the firm itself. But like you said earlier, like we're with you. Like we work with our
Yep.
clients on a day, weekly basis, and we're in the trenches with them, like getting the work done and
Yeah, it's
staying.
so important today because people are buying people. People hire people.
Yeah.
And especially a lot of our clients, they work on very catastrophic cases. Those folks that are injured or lost a loved one, they don't want to just work with any firm. They
Hmm.
do research, they do the time. And that's why we got into video. We didn't get into video because of SEO. We got into video because firms were hiring us to get people to their website, and videos help convert. Like you
Hmm.
can tell a story, you can create an emotional connection with someone that you can't translate through the text or the images on the page. Have a video there that's going to tell a story, connect with them, be emotional.
Hmm.
That is why we got into the video. Although
Yeah.
now it's become very important for SEO and for YouTube's very important in all these things, but we didn't get into it for that. We got into it for the branding, for the messaging, for the conversions. And I agree, like the marketing word can have a negative stigma, but you still need a market. But I think of it more like your approach. It's like, don't look at it as marketing. Look at it as we are being the best representation of ourselves. We're presenting it a very uh, graphically rich way, great messaging. So we're sharing with the community who we are. You
Yeah.
still need to get that out there. And the best way to get that out there is through boots on the ground. I keep telling clients this: get in your community, sponsor that kickball team, set up a booth at the local fair, be seen, grow through connecting with other people. The same way that we all go to conventions to connect and build our referral base with other attorneys, you need to get boots on the ground in your own community, build connections with your community. Don't sell them that, hey, I'm a lawyer, and just be genuine with people. Give
Mhm.
back, do those things, and then you're going to grow your brand, you're going to grow your reputation, you're going to become that person that people call and rely on. And don't say, hey, I'm a personal injury attorney. It's more, someone calls and says, I need a family lawyer, or I need whatever it is, help them. Ask more of like, hey, what do you need? How can
Yeah.
I help? And then you use your referral basis or your referral network to send them out to, oh, I got this family lawyer who's great. Or I have this, this criminal lawyer who's great. Go work with them. Don't say, oh, I'm just up here. Build the connections, be the person where people can call and just, how can I help?
The world is changing fast, as we know, and marketing changes even faster. So, to lead a company, you have to be aware of what's shifting, not just in marketing, but in business and tech, the fashion world,
Yeah.
in the law firms. So, let's talk tech and your go to resources, Ryan. So, what are your go to resources for staying current
You
that you
know,
check out on a
I
weekly basis?
used to, read every blog, stay up to date on LinkedIn, Twitter, and I still do a lot of that, but I've now been able to rely more on the team to do things, whereas before I wore every hat. I designed every site, I coded every site, I implemented the content, I uploaded the videos, I did the SEO, I did the link building, I did the tracking of everything, I did all of the client interact, like I did everything, wore all those hats. That
Yeah.
was 10 years ago. And now as we've grown, we've been able to insert the right people in all these different roles. So now I can have like Caitlin tell me, hey, we got an algo update going. Here's what's changing. And for algo update just means algorithm update. Google's being crazy again, as they do several times a year,
Oh,
making a lot of changes. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You just got to keep riding the ship and battling the current. But Caitlin will tell me, hey, here's something I think you need to really put some eyes on. We need to talk about this. We need to strategize about this. I need to be aware of this. Right now, I'm so far down the AI rabbit hole, and I'm constantly seeing all of these companies put fear into people like, oh, I got to do AEO, I need to do GEO, I need to follow my brand awareness in LLM search, where you really don't. The foundation is SEO. It's doing good SEO. You already should be building your brand. You already should be getting brand mentions. You already should be doing all of these things that influence the large language models. You should be doing that. And can
yeah.
you properly track brand awareness in a large language model when the prompts are constantly changing? You don't there's the responses to each prompt is different every time. Yeah, you can get a percentage of how often you're mentioned in one specific prompt, but how do you know what people are prompting to track that properly? It's like still with Google searches, I don't know the specific number. Oscar can look this up and post and put it on, but it's a high percentage of every search has never been searched before. And just think about that.
Yeah.
A massive percentage of everyday searches has never been searched before. So if you're
Mhm.
going to track that, I mean, sure, you can track your head keywords like just car accident lawyer, Houston, or whatever that is, but there's still so many different personalizations that go into that response. It's just it's not like tracking keyword. It's a lot, it's a lot different. And you still aren't really doing AEO or GEO. You're just doing SEO. You're just adding on a few extra things that you really should be doing anyway. And that's where I think that road is connecting of using PR and using an SEO agency, hire Rebuttal PR and hire GAVL. Rebuttal is going to get you a lot of brand mentions in news. You're going to get on, TV, radio stations, interviews, all that kind of stuff that's going to drive your brand and awareness, where that's going to help in conjunction of all the things that we're doing.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you covered a lot of good ground there, kind of circling it all back to.
You know me, I like to ramble sometimes.
No, it's good because the importance of building your team and having your team behind you in order to build and share that.
Yep. And see, I need a team because I have the memory of a squirrel. I'll say something 1 second and then I'll forget what I just said. So I have a great team to remind me. It's like, oh, Ryan, remember you just said this. And but I know all the things we need to do. I'm thinking of high level stuff. I'm not just, I forget what I just said, 10 minutes ago type thing.
Well, to your point too, of like just understanding AI, which is a statement in itself. It's just being able to know enough, but have your team to be able to keep an eye on. You hire,
little nuances.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
I think people can get overwhelmed. AI burnout is definitely a thing. And so how can you take a step back at that and look at it as a whole and say, I don't have to figure all this out on my own. I can have some good people in my court, whether that be within the business that you work with, resources that you go to online to help you feel connected and able to stay ahead of the curve. If we can stay ahead of the curve with AI changing, as we know, it's impacting our day-to-day. Obviously, It's changed a lot in the past decade, in the past, 6 months?
Shitload in the last 2 weeks with, new rollouts of Google search bars and all this stuff. It's all of this is going to constantly change, and that's okay. And thinking of resources and tech, it's the team is what I rely on a lot. But then, LinkedIn, there's so many smart people on LinkedIn that are sharing knowledge and information. Track those people, listen to those people, watch those people, just like we do on that side for watching. I mean, there's obviously Search Engine Journal and all these other resources. I think LinkedIn, looking at the people that are doing the work and sharing the data, I think that's really important. It's the same thing in legal. Follow the great attorneys that are doing great work, connect with them, listen to what they're sharing. I think is really important. I think people is the most underrated resource. Like a lot of times people just go to the news, or they go to, their favorite magazine or news outlet, whatever it is. Those are people that are being paid to write an article with some kind of narrative or agenda, where a lot of people are just sharing information to help their industry. And I think you need to look at those in two different facets, where there's no agenda. Obviously, I mean, there is a bit of an agenda. They want to be an influencer. They want to grow a brand. They want to, but there's still more genuineness behind that information they're sending and sharing than someone behind an editorial desk pushing some narratives.
What would you say excites you the most about the next phase for GAVL and for yourself?
That's a great question. I just want to be here for a long time, help great attorneys, connect injured people to attorneys that do great work and can really help them. And there's always going to be that need. So as long as we can be relevant, SEO is going to change. All of these things are going to change. But as long as we can stay and help people get connected, we're going to have work to do, and we'll be in business. So I just get excited for technology and what's coming next. It's like, you can't be fearful for AI. You can't be fearful for all of these changes. You need to adapt, embrace, and keep moving.
And build your team to help support you on the way, and know that you don't have to do everything yourself.
Yeah, I have a problem though. I like to do stuff. And but that's actually, over the 10 years, that's the trickiest thing is delegation.
Yeah.
And then trusting someone else to do something and that represents what I've built or what the team has built before. Like,
Mhm.
that's one of the hardest things is delegation. But luckily, we now have a great team where things can be delegated and people can do things that I don't have to do anymore. And that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
That means I have other times to build our intelligence engine that I'm not going to drop secrets out there for our competitors listening. But, we're building incredible tools behind the scenes through the assistance of AI and some of these things.
And it's been so fun to work with every member of the team to bounce ideas off of, like, hey, Ryan, what if we could add this feature? This would help solve this problem or save this amount of time for the team this week.
Yep.
And then we kind of talk about the endless possibilities. What are your top 3 most prized collectible items?
Oh boy, that is tough. That is tough. I have so many of baseball cards, baseballs, comic books. I can't narrow it down to just 3. I really can't. I just have so many, and sometime I'll do a show and tell on the podcast.
It would be really fun. We should do that.
Yep, that would be fun.
Do you have one that maybe means the most to you?
Nope, because they all mean a lot. It's all about
Yeah.
the hunt, it's all about
Okay.
finding the thing and or opening a product and getting a hit. It's just about the hunt, but I have so many. It's like I just can't narrow it down.
This one comes from the audience member, someone on our team. What's the best part about being over 6'5", and what are you tired of hearing as a tall person?
Oh my God. I get this every day. Whenever I'm in the grocery store, the nice little old ladies, "Oh, can you reach that for me?" The worst thing is hitting my
Oh,
head
you
all
kind
the
of
time.
like that's you gotta make you feel a little good, though. You're
Ah,
helping
it's
someone out.
I know, yeah, but it's all the time. I hit my head on things,
Yeah.
and I'm constantly asked, "Oh, do you play basketball?" All the time.
Yeah.
One time my wife joked where I should just bring a Sharpie with me all the time when I'm in the
Start
grocery store
sliding.
because people seriously ask if I play professional basketball.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you could totally make up a whole
Or they say,
basketball
"Where did
event.
you go to school?" Sometimes I do. Sometimes they're like, "Oh, yeah, I played at Duke."
You have the ad lib
Yep.
skill for sure. You just or make up a school that's not even real and then see how well you can BS your way through it, and if they
That's
catch your
great. I would love to do that. I'm gonna do that next time I get asked. I need to premeditate, think of a good school name, though.
like, you
I'll
could
think
even go deep in the rabbit hole, and we can make a logo and, like, colors and everything. Oh, yeah, it's like
that would be hilarious.
the
That could
jackals.
be the April Fools, next year.
That'd be funny.
Yep, we
Which
should
one
do
isn't
that.
true? Will you bring back your long beard that you have?
Never. I will never bring back the long beard. That was a phase of life that was very enjoyable. I think it, upset a lot of people like Mike Campbell, where we're walking through the airport and people constantly comment on how awesome it is, and he would just say, "Don't, don't, don't, don't,
Don't engage.
don't
Just
engage," and it was very fun, but now I'm in a new chapter in the long I'm in the bald chapter now, I like it's different, but
is
no, I
it
don't think it'll
you?
ever come back. The only time it would come back is if I was, very disheveled, just living on a beach and just, like, homeless,
Mm.
then I would just, let it come back, but that'll never happen, so it'll never come back.
What is your go-to way to reset after a long week?
Just hang out with my kids and family, you know, just, weekends, try to make it family time, weekend time. What can we do? Obviously, I still get client emails and client calls and stuff. So there is that
Yeah.
engagement. But, it's not about the unwind or just kind of relax. It's like my unwinding is being into what I like to do.
Yeah.
I like to
That's really
collect
relatable.
things. I like to
Mhm.
work. Like, working is fun for me. Like, I wake up every day, there's stuff to do, I enjoy that. It's not like
Mhm.
I'm going to a 9 to 5. I can be available, make my schedule, do what I want to do. It's rewarding. I don't really have like obviously I do enjoy a bourbon to celebrate things. I enjoy a beer. I enjoy those cigar. Great cigar is a great way to unwind next to a fire.
Okay.
But I'm still checking my email. I'm still like doing stuff because I enjoy it. I'm a weird person.
I don't think that's weird. I
No,
think it
it's
shows that,
it's pretty weird. I mean, a lot of people, that's a
well,
common
there's a
thing
lot of,
too.
it's a really admirable space to be in, to have a job or career, own a business of something that you truly enjoy. Like, it comes through in how you talk about Gavel, how you talk about our team, how you talk about who we work with every day.
Yeah,
Like,
I think it's all important.
mhm. Like, it is easy to think like, oh, work's such a grind. Like, it is a grind, but it's a
Oh,
grind
it's
that's
a
supposed to
grind.
be worth doing.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And I
100%.
think it's cool too that we have a team that a lot of us have young kids. We
Mhm.
want to show and pass along good work ethic to our young children. We want to be successful. We all want to put food on the table. And if, what I tell every client, we're successful when you're successful.
Yeah.
If our clients aren't successful, they're not going to have the money to pay us to do what we do for us to be successful. And when we have a lot of team members with young kids or just kids in general, it makes us want to be better. It makes us want to do great work. It makes us hungry to be the best of the best in the industry.
Looking back as your time as a CEO, co-founder in Gavel, what has been one of the most rewarding moments so far?
That's a great question. Uh, the most rewarding moment was when we became like official, and I can't remember how many years in. I might have been 3 or 4 years into the business where we've grown enough and we have a sizable enough team where it's like we're gonna get health insurance, we're gonna get 401k, we're gonna do benefits, the real shit that real businesses do.
Yeah.
That was kind of the big wow. Okay, we're onto something here. This is pretty cool. I think that was one of the most rewarding moments in the company. And now, the next one hitting 10 years is huge. There's so many great rewarding moments. Another one is hiring your husband, Luke, and him actually being good at what he does because I went through a lot of duds, and now actually hiring someone that can do really good work, and I think better than what I could ever do. So that's a pretty rewarding moment too. And I know he's in the background listening right now. So there's your attaboy. Get to work, dude. And let's end it with that, Mariah, because this
That
was
sounds good.
a
This is a
great
great conversation today. Yeah, we got
conversation.
into
You let me
all
ramble a lot.
did
People are
let
gonna
you
be
ramble,
people are gonna
but
be
it was
bored of hearing.
valuable rambling, I would say.
Oh, I
Lots of
appreciate
good
that. I appreciate
golden
that.
nuggets for our listeners, I think.
Speaking of marketing, hopefully we'll get some nice clips to put on our YouTube. We'll get some shorts, which all of our clients should be doing. Anyone listening to this needs to be taking their, oh man, Oscar always telling me, don't say I say a lot, but that's fine. I think it's my nervous tick, but anyway, clients, attorneys listening, you need to be taking your YouTube seriously. You need to be taking your shorts seriously. Do content, create content, do what we're doing. We're making content. We're going to have some golden nuggets that'll go out. You need to be doing the same thing. All of this stuff is intentional noise. We need noise. And that's our motto, right, Oscar? We need noise, but let's make it intentional. Like, let's have some thought behind it. Let's not just create to just throw shit out there. Let's have some intent behind it. So, great conversation.
That's fun.
We got to do it
Yeah.
again. Maybe I'm going to be in the other seat and I'm just going to grill you next time.
That works.
Or I'm going to grill Luke. I did grill him that one podcast, but I didn't
Mhm.
really grill him. Maybe we'll take the gloves off and we'll do a little sparring.
It'd be a good one.
Yep,
Yeah.
that would be a good one. All right. Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Thanks for having me on today. Thanks for the conversation. It was good.
You're welcome. See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Behind the GAVL. I'm Mariah Farrens, and I was your co-host today alongside Ryan Raplee, our CEO and co-founder. We had a special episode as we celebrate our 10-year anniversary and our 12th episode milestone of Behind the GAVL podcast. Thanks for tuning into the conversation. We had a great one. We covered a lot of ground looking at the past decade of building a company, what it's like working in the legal space, and the importance of building relationships for not only your business, but for growth in the ever-changing tech world into the future. So thanks for tuning in. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll see you next time.